Hey pet photographer, Monique here, and this weekend I was paid to photograph a pop-up cat cafe event. What is that? And it got me thinking about several different ways that I have been hired to photograph for pet photography over the years, and I want to talk to you about that. But I've got to get to the studio, so I'm going to pack up my computer and go to the studio for a client meeting I've got in just a few minutes. Okay, I finished up the meeting with my client and a phone call with another client, and let's continue this conversation. This is a busy day for me, so you're going to kind of travel around with me. I've realized I've had at least like 10 different ways that I have been hired to provide photography, usually for pet related things. There are, of course, a lot of other ways to make money with pet photography, stock photography, things like that. But these, I want to give you just a list of ways that I have personally been hired for my photography services, pet related. What I talked about at first was the Cat Cafe pop-up event, and there is a new cat cafe coming to town, and until they build out their space, they are having these pop-ups, and so they needed some photos of the event, and so they reached out to me. I had met them at a networking event and volunteered with them, and so then they hired me. So that is one example of event photography at a cat cafe pop-up. So lots of cute kittens, really a great time. Now I gotta pack this stuff up. We have some errands to go on, so come with me. So before we hit the road, of course, I had to stop at the coffee shop. Got a coffee, got a zucchini bread. We're gonna have a little snack. Oh yeah, good stuff. Right off the bat, obviously, one of the other ways that you can make money being hired as a pet photographer is your regular commission portraits. So like the sales meeting I just had, I had photographed their dogs and we were doing a sales meeting. So obviously, I mean, it's obvious, but I want to make sure it gets on the checklist of the 10 or so ideas I have for you to be hired as a pet photographer. Look at the snow, it's so pretty. Let's carry on. I've got a bunch more errands. I got to drive to the next town over, and come with me. Okay, just survived the craft store, and it kind of reminded me of another way that I've earned money with pet photography skills, and that was for actually product photography, but it was for the dog treat bakery. My friend Sue had Bones du Jour, which is a dog treat bakery, so she hired me to photograph her making the treats and her bakery. And we even had like the dog from next door in her complex come by and steal some treats. So I was hired to do some product photography for a dog treat company. Now where to? I better check my list. Okay, it's bright out there today. Should just have a couple of more stops. Oh, I gotta be careful, these are very broken. A couple more stops and we gotta get home and walk the dog. But I'm about a half a mile from a veterinary office that I work with. And so that's another one of the places I want to tell you about, is doing business portraits, like headshots, with people's pets. And I just love doing that, and people love it. It's not the typical, but if you know someone at a pet-based business, they love getting their business portraits or headshots with their pets. So I've done that for quite a few years for different businesses around town. So that's really fun and a great way to get hired for your pet photography. All right, let's do this next errand. Let's go. Okay. That was a big nope. Have you ever had those times where you go in to run an errand at a store and you think you're going to spend some time there and you just go, nope. And then you realize it's probably because you haven't had lunch. You've just been sipping on your coffee for 2 or 3 hours. Anyway, let's go to the last stop. It's the grocery store. So that is really going to help. Let's see. Do I have anything else on my list that I could tell you while I'm sitting in the parking lot? Oh, so I was just talking to you about doing business portraits, headshots at like veterinary offices and pet-based businesses. I've also been hired to do open house at a veterinary hospital. So there was one place who one summer decided to have open house, they'd have all kinds of activities, and one of them was to get their portrait done with their dog or just their pets. And so I set up in a whole exam room, and it was no charge for the client because the hospital just paid me a set rate, and this came along with all of the attendees. They got to have this for free. So that was kind of cool, and that was a fun way to make some money with my pet photography and interact with a lot of people. So veterinary hospital open house, or pet-based business kind of open house, their annual activity for their clients and their community. That was a fun one. All right, now let's go get something for lunch and get the rest of the groceries I need, and we can get home. And maybe we'll take the dog for a walk. It's been fun kind of hanging out with you. Come on with me. Yeah. Oh, wow. That grocery store is almost always so busy. Let's look at that. Find lunch in here. Where is it? Here we go. Oh my gosh. It is time for some sushi and lunch, and then it's pretty nice out. So I think we will go for a walk. I was thinking of another place that I've been hired by is a pet supply store grand opening. So they had me do a little bit of the ribbon cutting, but really I had all my studio set up in the back grooming room, and it was their grand opening. So there was a giant line of people to come in and get prize baskets and all kinds of things in this pet supply store, and then they can make their way to the back for free photos with me. But they did require that I have a little 4x6 printer on site. So that was an interesting day. I actually did that for 2 of their local stores. But again, they gave me my set rate, and so then the potential clients all got pictures for free. And I think I even was able to gather email addresses there. So that was nice. So if they wanted the digital image, I can get their email address. But that was one of the ways that I've been hired for my pet photography. Okay, now lunch. Seriously, doesn't this look delicious? Yummy. Okay, don't mind my messy kitchen. I have been out running errands and working. But we have to put these flowers in some water. Nice. So another type of photography I've been hired for was a veterinary hospital facility images. They needed some photos for a presentation they were giving, and for their website, and just general photos. Let's cut these stems off. I think I cut them too short. Oh well. It'll be a full bouquet. There we go. Pretty full. So yeah, they hired me to photograph the facility. So the lobby and the exam rooms and the treatment area and surgery and, all those spots. We had some fun. We had a little whimsy in there. They have a pretty big stuffed animal that they had named. I can't remember his name. And so that little dog doll posed for us all over the facility, which was really fun. We got some without the dog too, but the practice manager was like, oh my gosh, this would be fun. Let's do that. So there was kind of a dog in these photos, but it was at a veterinary practice. So that's another thing to think of when thinking of different ways to be hired for your photography in the pet industry. All right, it's getting a little chilly, so we're grabbing a jacket. And now we'll finally take Bay for a walk. Huh, Bay? Another idea, a way that I've actually been hired. Now, all these ideas are ways I have actually been hired. These aren't just, hey, this might work. This worked. Was for a doggy daycare grand opening and open house. But they also combined it with photos for any dog that was there at daycare that day. So kind of cool. I had a studio space set up in one of the play areas, but I also took my camera around and took pictures of the people enjoying the open house, the refreshments, the facility, and just kind of what was happening that day, plus pictures of the dogs from daycare at a backdrop area. So that was kind of a fun way to be hired for my pet photography as well. Now, Bay is insisting that we take a walk. I'll show you. Hello, Bay. Are you ready? Are you ready? You're ready? She's ready. Well, I get her all ready. Another job that I've been hired for was actually the conference. And I did the photos for the red carpet event. So they had a background called a step and repeat with the conference name all over it. And that evening people could get dressed up and they had their pets at this event. This was Blog Paws. And they would come down the red carpet and get a beautiful photo of them in front of this branded backdrop. So I was actually hired to do these photos at this conference, which was amazing. So I got paid for that, and I also got compensated. My hotel room was comped, and I got to enjoy the entire conference. Oh my gosh, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go for a walk. Oh, while we're on our walk, I have another idea that we'll talk about as we walk. But she's very ready. Okay, let's go, Bay. Come on. Okay, let's go. Another way I've been hired is on retainer. So I charged a monthly fee and they got, I think it was 2 hours of photography a month. And so what we did was we made a 1-year contract, and I would come in either once a month for 2 hours or a couple times a month for an hour. And it was a humane society, actually, the big county one here, and they were going through a capital campaign where they were building in a whole new building. So they were needing records of that build throughout the process. So it could have been a 2-year project, actually. So we did, groundbreaking with some dogs, and I got to photograph the building as it was built and the demolishing of the old building. And that was nice because I just automatically got a payment every month. Yeah. Oh, it's nice out. So that was a really cool way to be able to use my photography and get hired in a different way. I wonder if it'll snow. Woo! All right, babe, let's take this off. Okay. There you go. Woohoo! That was a nice little loop through the neighborhood. I gotta take my boots and coat off, and we'll head back into the office for a full circle with another idea for you. Yeah. Oh, are you a good girl? Yeah. Yeah. You're a good girl? Okay. Woo! We are back where we started here in the green room. I have one more idea for you. And if you follow me at all, you know it's a little bit different, but I really think this is going to be where it's at. And that is video. Yes. Now, there are a lot of ways that you can make money with video. I can make a whole nother video about making money for pet photographers with video. There's all kinds of ways. Okay, so there's a few ways that I have personally made money with photography, mostly in the pet related fields over the years. I hope it gave you some ideas of how you can expand your offerings or take advantage of opportunities that are out there. Now, if you also want a separate video on how I obtained those clients and landed those deals, let me know in the comments below and I will consider making a video about that as well. And before we go, I want to make sure that you check out this work from amazing pet photographer Lisa Peterson at Posh Photography. She submitted this to air on the last minute of the broadcast. If you missed the interview that I did with her, she was kind enough to do a one-to-one recorded call with me. Check out this video and watch that whole thing of how a whole one-to-one consult coaching call with me goes. So here's one of Lisa's favorite photos and here's our interview. Enjoy, and as always, I wish you many woofs, purrs, and TREATSs.